Hi, this is Margie with Flow Motion Education, and I've been getting a lot of questions lately having to do with the arches of the feet. So if you've worked with me before or watched any of my videos, you know that I like all of my clients and students to be able to visualize their moving bones. So I'm going to do a little demo on the foot of what the arches look like and what makes them lift and lower. So the arch that I'm going to start with, the one that we're most familiar with, it's called the medial arch of the foot. And if you want more detail on the foot mechanics specifically, go back and look at my pronation, supination video on my channel. But just a quick reminder, I'm not going into that much detail in this video, but when you rotate the rear foot or the talus in toward the midline of the body, so this is the big toe side, the arch lowers. I am not pushing down. In fact, there's nothing for me to push against. It's just by rotating that the arch lowers. And when the rear foot or the talus bone rotates away from the midline of the body, the arch lifts. So we're going to be using that rotation to feel or experience the arches lowering and lifting. And then the transverse arch is also driven by rotation of the rear foot. But I just want to do a little demo. I'm going to do my best here, get the toes actually out of the way. And you're seeing the metatarsals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a lot of people have pain in their metatarsals, usually, well, often under the second, third, or fourth. And it's quite often because they're just not ever resupinating the foot from a pronated position, and they're never developing a transverse arch, and it's the transverse arch that's going to alleviate the pressure on the met heads, specifically 2, 3, and 4, the middle ones. So I'm lifting the toes, and again, if I rotate the rear foot in toward the midline of the body, you can see how the transverse arch lowers, and when I rotate the rear foot away from the middle, I'm not pulling up, the transverse arch lifts. It lowers when I pronate or rotate the rear foot inward, and guess what? The rear foot is connected to the tibia and the femur, or the shin bone and the thigh bone. So we're going to be using those to drive the rear foot into rotation. And again, I'm not pushing down or lifting up. When I rotate the other way, can you see how we now have a transverse arch? And now I'm going to have you feel it in your own bodies, because seeing it is one thing, feeling it is wonderful. Okay, so you can hit pause if you need to. You just need a basic paper clip, not a real small one, not a huge one, a medium paper clip. If you don't have a medium paper clip, just grab any paper clip. And then this actually works much better. I'm standing on carpet, it's harder to feel. So if you have the opportunity to stand on a hard floor, you will feel this better. I'm going to first, we're going to start with the transverse arch, because this one might be the harder one to conceptualize, but it's the easiest one to feel. You're going to take this paper clip and put it under med heads 2, 3, and 4. And then just put your foot down, or the toe knuckles, sometimes I say met heads, toe balls, some people call them the toe balls, some people call them the toe knuckles. It's not your toes, it's the knuckle part, or the toe balls, or if you know anatomy, your metatarsal heads. So under 2, 3, and 4, and you should feel it. Now I'm going to be cueing you to rotate. This is the working leg, but I'm going to get real specific. In order for that lift to happen, we really need the rotation to go all the way down to the rear, to the talus and the tibia, and it's going to be driven by the femur and pelvis above. So before I start this exercise, what do we do with the non-working foot? I'm just preemptively telling you, because everybody gets really confused once we start moving. So the non-working foot, I want you to just lift the heel. It's all about, I'm going to mirror image you, it's all about the left leg. Okay? So the non-working foot, you lift the heel, and then I just want you to kind of pivot the foot a few times and say to yourself, the foot is frictionless. It's just going to go along for the ride. It has one job, and that is not to impede the cues that I'm going to be giving you for the working leg. So you might just do a few rotations and just say, yeah, okay, it's not impeding movement. It's frictionless. Okay. So, a couple of rules before we start. You must always have some contact under your big toe ball. When we start to rotate, it might want to lift off. If it really wants to lift off and you can't tell it, no, stay down, which is common, quite common when we're starting. You can take a wedge, if you have an anatomy in motion wedge or a yoga wedge, or a sock, just fold it a few times, or a washcloth or anything, and slip it under the big toe if you need it. So that'll be those people when we start to rotate, if you feel you can't maintain the contact with the big toe, because that is critical in this exercise, put something underneath it. It gives the big toe, not the toe itself, but the toe ball, or the toe knuckle. It gives the toe knuckle something to hug, and you'll just feel it suck onto the wedge when we do the exercise. So that's rule number one, big toe ball always in contact. Rule number two is hip must be over the knee, must stay over the ankle. For whatever reason, as soon as I cue people to start rotating, which we're going to do in a minute, they off-weight the leg. I'm exaggerating just barely. Or from this plane, I cue them to start rotating. This is me. This is what I used to do. And they off-weight the foot. So this is not hip over knee over ankle. This is hip over knee over ankle. This is a pillar, and it's going to stay stacked. All right. So we have the paper clip under 2, 3, and 4. And I'm not going to use a wedge because I've been doing this enough that my big toe now does stay down. And you're going to turn. Remember, this foot is frictionless. Heel is slightly lifted. You're going to turn your head. The working leg is the left leg to the left. The shoulder girdle, the rib cage, the pelvis, staying on top of the foot. And that rotation, that torque, you can use an arm to reach if that helps, get more torque, should go all the way down to the tibia and to the foot. You should feel a response in the foot. Okay, let's just do that one more time. Settle the foot back down, feel the paper clip under 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to rotate again. Big toe is down. That one was just for practice. So we practice keeping the hip stacked on top of the knee, on top of the foot, looking at me from the side or the front. This foot is frictionless. We're going to rotate head, shoulder girdle, rib cage, pelvis, reach to generate more rotation. That rotation goes all the way down to the foot. Big toe is down, big toe ball, not the big toe is down, but I want you to feel pressure under the big toe ball. And did you feel the pressure lift off the paper clip? Let's do that one more time. So feel the pressure on the paper clip. I'm going to rotate head, shoulders, rib cage, pelvis, reach, generating a torque all the way down to the tibia, hugging the surface I'm on with the big toe ball, and I felt the pressure lift off of the paper clip. That's your transverse arch. Okay, we're going to go the other way. We're going to feel the transverse arch lower, and guess what? It's just rotating in the opposite direction, but again, this time you really want to maintain contact with the little toe ball, and you may feel the pressure go back down onto the paper clip on 2, 3, 4. Head, shoulders, rib cage rotating toward the foot with a reach, maintaining contact with the big toe ball. Feel the pressure lift off the paper clip. Rotate the other way, maintaining your tripod, big toe ball, little toe ball, heel. You could have a slight bend in the knee. I'm fine with that. And feel the pressure back down on the paper clip. And that is your transverse arch, lowering and lifting. And just to complete the picture is take the paper clip and to feel the medial arch, the one we think of most commonly as the arch of the foot. You're going to put the paper clip under your heel on the inside toward the front of the heel, And again, the arches lower and lift together. So as I rotate toward the foot, head, shoulders, rib cage, pelvis, reach, I feel the pressure lift off the paper clip. Maybe not 100%, but it definitely lifted off. And as I rotate the other way, maintaining my tripod and reach, I feel the pressure on the paperclip, and that's pronation. The arch is lowering. That's what we want to feel. And I'm going to rotate head, shoulder, rib cage, pelvis, reach, and I feel still all the same rules, big toe ball down. I feel the pressure lift off the paperclip. And for the lateral arch, which is considerably more subtle, so if you don't feel this one, no worries. You're going to place the paperclip under the outside of the heel, more kind of toward the front as well, but on the outside of the heel. And again, rotate head, shoulders, rib cage, reach. A lot of pressure on the heel. And then as I rotate the other way, I feel the pressure more on the medial border. So that's the arch lowering, and the arch lifts. And so it's still, I feel it under the heel because that's the heel is the end of the arch, but I don't feel it on the front of the heel so much, and I don't feel it on the lateral or the outside border of my foot. And that is introducing you to, both conceptually and experientially, the arches of your foot. And remember, movement, theory, and practice. Conceptualize, experience.